Live and in green from Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport in Texas, this is Runway DFW, the new YouTube channel dedicated to bringing you live action from one of the world's busiest airports. My name is Walt Ozorko, and happy St. Patrick's Day to y'all wherever you may be around the world. You're watching Runway DFW. And top of the morning to y'all. Thank you for joining us on this special edition of, well, we've got a kind of a twin bill for you today. Unlock my tripod here. It's just before daybreak here in North Texas. 1 week ago, we would have already been on the air for an hour, but because of the time change to daylight saving time here in the USA, we've kind of lost an hour of broadcasting here in this country. So, is that too loud? Trying to adjust my levels here. It's a windy morning here at DFW Airport. Winds probably maybe 15 miles an hour. We do, however, have lit up over here 2 planes on the radar that are always of interest to aviation geeks. There you see the West Tower of DFW Airport in the center of your screen. On the right, a mighty Boeing 747 cargo. And on the left, a tri-jet MD-11. Both, well, the MD-11 just dropped off the radar. The 747 is on the radar, but as you can see, it is still being loaded up with cargo, but I think we will be seeing this take off for Louisville before we go off the air in about 90 minutes. And you may ask, Walt, why are you going off the air in 90 minutes? Well, it's all a matter of having to satisfy employment obligations. I'm still getting all aligned here as far as what's happening. You just saw American Eagle Flight 3983 landing on the east side of the airport, coming in from Longview, Texas, in East Texas. We've got another American Eagle flight on final approach, coming in from Harlingen, which is in South Texas. Texas is a big state. We've got a lot of flights from a lot of different places. This will be American Eagle Flight 3109, a CRJ 701 ER for extra regional. And at this hour of the day, our focus is not the best. But we'll follow it along with you for here on Runway DFW. So happy to have all of you with us this fine Thursday morning. Summer deadlight, celebrating the arrival of spring and the longer days. But as I said earlier, it's not quite so good for us for our morning broadcasts because we lose an hour of daylight in the morning. So we'll have to start a little later, at least until the sunrises get more in line with earlier starts. So happy to see all of our friends in the chat room, the Runway DFW chat room. And if you're just looking in for the first time, welcome to Runway DFW. We bring you live flight activity from this big airport multiple times a week. Today we're going to do it multiple times a day. We got a double header for you. That was American Eagle Flight 3140 coming in from Laredo, another Texas outpost. And while we have a moment of quietude, let's look over at this. We've got a couple of tri-jets over here. This is another one, another MD-11, which is in the process of getting all loaded up there. We are happy to have you with us on this St. Patrick's Day. And hey, listen, if you got a couple of extra quarters in your pocket, consider contributing to the Runway DFW Fund. Help us pay for streaming expenses and equipment. And hey, we've got a brand new tripod head today, thanks to your contributions at paypal.me/runwaydfw. PayPal.me/runwaydfw, where you can leave us a buck or two if you so choose. Buy us a cup of coffee. We've got a number of fine people who hang out with us who have already contributed to our funding, and we thank all of you so much because it means That means a lot. It means hey, we can get some new equipment. And we're still seeing the two UPS. I think it's these ones over here. We're seeing an MD-11 and a 747 lit up on the radar. So that means we should be seeing them go out in the not too distant future. What do we got over here? Oh. I should take that off. You've seen that, right? You got that memorized. Here comes an American Airlines jetliner. What do we got here? It is leaving the American Airlines hangar area to go over to the terminals, of which there are 5. We've got lining up our first departure of the morning, and it's going to be a Delta flight. This is Delta 1662 on its way to Minneapolis, St. Paul. That's an A319. Looking good. Just a couple minutes away from sunrise here, which will be soon in back there behind these takeoffs. There's the skyline of Dallas in the background. And here goes Delta flight, what did I say it was? Can't remember. On Runway DFW. I need to be throwing in all these Irish phrases now, top of the morning and shillelaghs and shamrocks and all that stuff. I even wore a green shirt today. A day when everyone has a little bit of Irish in their blood. I've got Ukraine in my blood. Seriously, my name, well, Zorko, that's a Ukrainian name. My paternal grandparents came over from the old country, so I grew up listening to their interesting mix of English, heavily accented English, and Ukrainian while growing up. Yeah, it looks like we've got American flight 1244. That's it right there. It's going to Denver. And I'd like to thank the Runway DFW Graphic Arts Department for greening up our look for this one day. And we'll get multiple uses out of it, because if you're just joining us, we'll be back later on today. We've got about a 90-minute broadcast this morning, Texas time. So we'll be with you through about 9 o'clock Central Time, and then we'll come back at noon for another round of plane spotting action. I'm receiving word that apparently there may be a problem with PayPal, or maybe There's just too many people trying to make contributions to Runway DFW at once. But if you are kind enough to try to make a deposit there and it doesn't work, give it another try. Maybe it'll work. If not, enjoy the show. I don't want to distract you from our activity here. And the wind is picking up. I'm trying to keep things steady, even with our new tripod head. It tends to blow things around a little bit, but the one I've got here is a lot more smooth than what I had previously. The tripod head is the part of the tripod that sits on top of the tripod but under the camera. It's got the little arm on it that you move back and forth to follow along with the action. We have our first 747 of the morning, maybe the only one, but not complaining. It doesn't have a destination on the radar, but this one typically is going out to Louisville, which is the big UPS centralized hub. See if there's anybody in the cockpit there. Yeah, I think there is. So good morning to you, flight crew. And I was about to tell you a little bit about this particular aircraft, but it dropped off the radar there for a second. That was American Eagle Flight 3579 coming in from Del Rio, Texas, an Embraer 145. And you can probably hear those big 747 engines. Well, there's the registration number, N60UP. About to get blown away again here. I don't have a way to display your names on the screen currently, but I would very much like to acknowledge a contribution from Deborah Klein on PayPal, $10. Thank you, Deborah. From MJ Scanlon, $5. Much appreciated. At paypal.me/runwaydfw. And from Ross Gin, an old pal of ours, for $5. Thank you so much, Ross. We are very appreciative of your input and your friendship here at Runway DFW. Boss Jen. He's saying he's got a beautiful full moon above us at LAX right now. And we had that full moon over us. It's set in the sky. It was here when we first started setting up, but it has gone below the horizon, so we couldn't bring that to you this morning. So this big bird pulling out, typically it will wend its way over to runway 18 left here on the west side of DFW and begin to wing its way over to Louisville. Not a very long trip, probably a little more than an hour. Packed with packages. Attention to a United Express aircraft. And I didn't get a peek of it on the radar. This is usually going to San Francisco, but if I remember right. Whoa. Now that's a giant photobomb. Spied a One World livery. My goodness. Yes. I love the smell of jet fuel in the morning. You can definitely smell that jet fuel from where we are. Tower of DFW there in the background, as our queen taxis her way to the top of runway 18 left. Sometimes that aircraft will take off from a more southerly point. This is the north end of the runways here. And sometimes it'll make the turn and it'll actually take off with less runway available. But perhaps this one is a little more fully loaded. Sky of Dallas-Fort Worth. So nice to see all of you fine folks in our chat room this morning. If you are not a subscriber to Runway DFW, you can't chat, so hit the red subscribe button. Join our happy gathering here. Hang out with other Av geeks. Probably hear all the birds in the background. All right, we have to give a shout out to, where'd he go? Gavin Coleman, whose birthday it is today. Happy birthday to you, Gavin, from Runway DFW. Definitely got some cargo action this morning. That's a 767 coming in from Austin, Texas, UPS. And you might have seen it as that was landing. There's another UPS cargo plane. This is an A300 that has arrived from Houston Intercontinental George Bush Airport. So there's your double UPS action here on Runway DFW. And we still do have, well, let's take a look at this as it comes in. It's always nice to see these planes pointing right at us. Here at 7:42 local time, as evidenced by our exclusive Flip Clock 79 technology. I should get UPS to sponsor us. Are you listening, UPS? I was trying to reaffix my microphone. Just coming at us from everywhere. The tail glinting in the morning sun. Nothing else arriving or taking off right now, so I guess we're not missing anything. UPS Heaven, says Dora Gerber. We're also broadcasting this morning on Facebook and on Twitter for some reason. We don't have a Runway DFW channel on Facebook or Twitter just yet. I'm not that big on Facebook. YouTube I like. Thank you, YouTube, for letting us send our signal out to the world. This one's pulling into the back lot. We still do have this MD-11, which looks like it's still got a bunch of cargo to go in. It's on the radar, so we'll see what happens with that. Meantime, I'd like to give an official Runway DFW shout out to Gregory Bloom, who has favored us with a 787 amount of contribution. He says hello from New York City, and hello to you, Gregory. Thank you. And Robert Brailsford, $5 US from him, and he's in the UK, in Somerset in the UK, and I may be there too if this wind keeps blowing like this. Thank you, Robert. And again, I apologize for not being able to acknowledge you on screen. I don't have that. Still working out some things with YouTube where we could actually do the official tipping like a lot of the other aviation channels do. So we're working on that, but in any event, we see all your contributions and we thank you very much. And again, and we'll add you to our scrolling list for our next broadcast. And again, if you'd like to join the club here, well, there's not really a club, right? You know, you don't get any benefits. Everybody kind of gets the same pictures, no matter if they contribute to Runway DFW or not. That's fine. We like that. Ooh, you know what we got here? We've got some French fry eating birds. Yep. Yeah, you can go ahead. You can eat it. Come on. There you go. It's probably not good for you anyway, right? Ah, he's got it. I don't know. If I were a bird, I'd probably go for a worm. Birds seem almost guilty about taking these. You can see them on the ground there, all those French fries. And we show you that because we don't have any plane action going on right now. Let's see if we can pick out of the sky American Flight 479 coming in from Baston. Well, that's probably a good place to come in from on St. Patrick's Day. Probably they've been drinking their green beer all the way down to 737-800. And it is arriving on the east side of DFW, so we shan't be seeing its entire journey. Because we don't get to look over on the east runways from where we are. goes. Out of sight. Have we been on the air for a half hour yet? I guess we have. If you just tuned in, we are watching Runway DFW live. Let's put on our, there we go. That makes it official, right? You are watching Runway DFW live from DFW International Airport on St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, 2022. Thanks for joining us from wherever you are around this big blue orb, or maybe it's a green orb today, huh? We'll be with you till about 9 o'clock Central Time, a little more than an hour from now, and then we'll be back. Set yourself a reminder, we'll be back at noon Central Time for a little bit more, a second edition of Runway DFW for St. Patrick's Day. Thanks for watching. Okie dokie. There's a sunrise. We don't have anything happening over on this side right now. So we will watch another plane coming in on the east side and just track it. Summer deadlight shining. Ugh, work starts in 8 minutes. I'd rather plane watch 100% instead of 25%. Yeah, I know what that's like. I've got to kind of do that myself. I know that when I'm working at home, I've always got my iPad on in the corner for some good streaming action. This is American Airlines Flight 2012 coming in on the east side from San Antonio in Texas. I always have to remember to say that because, you know, from when we've got such an international audience, you know, they may not know where San Antonio is, or if it's in Texas or Kansas or whatever. I have myself learned a lot of geography by watching streaming airport shows. Maybe they're doing some work on the runway over here. I see a lot of blue lights. There are some ground crews. It's like they're doing a drag race there. So I don't know if they're examining the runway or what, but we haven't had much action here since that 747 took off. And we're getting a pushback of this 757 UPS cargo plane. This is going to be on its way to Ontario, California. We don't see many, I like to point out, we usually don't see 757s here anymore. I know Delta and United, I believe, still fly that type of aircraft, but not into DFW. This is an oldie. This is a 20th century 757. Came to life in 1994. MJ Scanlon Photography is a fan. Let's see how close we can get. That's about as close as we can get. A little cockpit view there. Hello, flight crew. Glad to have you with us this morning. Now, again, typically this flight will take off from this side of the airport. So I guess if there's any issues, we'll find out about it. But yeah, I do see an abundance of, maybe there was some debris or something, because there's a, it's one of those vacuum trucks that's out on the runway. So the ground crews are scouring the tarmac, the runway, to make sure everything is good to go. Here's the 757. According to the radar, the skies north of the airport are entirely clear. But we do have a Kalitta Air DHL, or DHL operated by Kalitta Air, I guess, coming in from Cincinnati. And that'll probably, I don't know, I've seen it come in on this side, and sometimes it comes on the east side of the airport. That particular aircraft is about 4 or 5 minutes out. So we will keep our eyes on that aircraft. Bill Caldham with an endorsement for our idea that UPS should sponsor this broadcast. I guess we'd have to turn our logo from green to brown then, I suspect. Roger Williams says from the front, the 757 looks like a predatory bird. I can go along with that. Good to hear from you this morning, Yehuda. Thank you for your comment. It's 8 a.m. here at Dallas-Fort Worth International Airport in Texas, in the United States. And you're watching Runway DFW with live and windy St. Patrick's Day action on this March 17th. And a reminder that we will be back later today in a few hours. We've got about another hour of streaming to go here before we have to pack up. But then we'll be back at noon Central Time. And there is a placeholder there on YouTube for your edification. So keep us in mind. If you've got nothing to do in a couple of hours, come on back and we'll hang out. Trying to find that Cincinnati inbound flight, the Kalitta Air. And yeah, does look like it's lining up for the east runways. What you see behind the tail of this aircraft is the central tower at DFW. That is no longer actively used as a control tower. I think it's the only one that has the perforated design on the tower part of it. The two active towers now, east and west, have solid. They don't have any holes going through them. So we've got an American flight off to Amarillo, but it looks like, I can't tell who's going to go first here. It looks like they're taking off on runway 18 right, which is normally the arrival, typically it's the arrival runway. So it looks like runway 18 left is out of commission, at least temporarily. So, yeah, normally we have two north-south parallel runways in operation on this side of the airport, on the west side. One of which handles takeoffs and the other handles landings. All right, here goes the flight to Ontario. I'm going to try to, as soon as this lifts off, I'm going to try to flip over and see if we can get that Kalitta Air cargo coming in from Cincinnati on the east side with a long-range shot. So we're getting a little bit different angle for takeoffs here because takeoffs are happening on 18 right. Normally they're a little further out. All right, so that's up in the air. Let's go over to, here's the Kalitta Air. in the yellow DHL. Well, it's hard to tell because everything's kind of backlit from the sunrise. That aircraft will be taxiing over to this side of the airport. Because that's where the DHL cargo facility is, here to the south of us. Where did I say this one was going? To Amarillo, I think. Pro Darshil Desai says, I am coming here tomorrow. I think that's what he's saying. We're glad to have you with us. All right, one of our favorite flights of the morning every morning is the flight from Fargo, North Dakota. It's American Eagle Flight 5942, a CRJ 900 LR, long range. And it's a little further out than I thought. We won't see it for another couple minutes. Meanwhile, take in the enjoyment of the traffic on Highway 121. Meet some traffic report music. Northeast Texas spotter Alonzo from Instagram. That is by far, I think, you win the award for the longest screen name we've had here on Runway DFW. But yeah, maybe we'll see you this afternoon. Here's the flight from Fargo, coming at you from Runway DFW. So I guess all operations currently are happening on runway 18 right. I guess we'll find out. So we just had a couple of takeoffs on runway 18 right. And this new tripod head that you helped me acquire, all of you Runway DFW contributors, I can tell the difference. It's really nice. Thank you. Arden Summers has favored us with a contribution. What is that? That's an American Airlines flight. That's taking off from the east side. I saw it going up. It looked like it was going up at a steeper angle than most planes do. I thought it might be a cargo plane. But anyway, I was in the process of thanking Arden Summers, who wishes us a happy St. Patrick's Day. Thank you. Arden contributed to us on our paypal.me/runwaydfw tip line. Thank you so much. Chris Scapulu. Walt, always a fab chilled show. Keep up the great work. Yeah, I'm a little chilled this morning. The wind is, it'd really be nice this morning. It's 57 degrees here at DFW, which would be really nice, except the wind makes it seem, you got the wind chill. But thank you, Chris. And thank you, Arden, and thank you everyone who is helping out our little enterprise here at DFW Airport. All right, we got a little lull, but now we've got, what, another UPS flight? Yes, UPS, please sponsor us. This is going to be another A300 coming in from Palm Beach. Coming in from the north. We have pointed our camera to the northern sky. Well, while we're doing that, we'll go over here and we'll give you a look at the, this is DFW Founders Plaza, where we've had to come in the official Runway DFW pickup truck today because our regular vehicle is out of commission with a flat tire. But there's the wind for you, coming in pretty much directly from the south at a pretty brisk rate, you can tell there, with the flags of Fort Worth, Dallas, Texas, and the US of A. Now, back to the matters at hand. Runway DFW brought to you by UPS. Or as I say on game shows, a promotional consideration has been provided by UPS. But it hasn't been, so nothing against UPS. And that there A300 is of this century. It's a 21st century A300 F4-622R. And there you see the Paletta Air DHL aircraft in the background. So look at that. It's like synchronized swimming except for airplanes. Decked out in full DHL regalia. Sometimes we see these DHL planes, they got kind of the yellow tail, but they don't go quite all the way as far as. But yeah, that one's full DHL. And again, that one came in from Cincinnati, as some people say. Do people say Cincinnati? Is that one of those old things? I mentioned a while back that sometimes I listen to old radio broadcasts from the 30s and the 40s, and the announcers had a tendency to say Los Angeles. And I guess that was the official radio pronunciation of the City of Angels. So it looks like it's coming from underground. Glenn B wants to know the name of our host. I couldn't put your message up on the screen there, Glenn, but my name is Walt Zwirko. That's spelled Z as in zebra, W-I-R-K-O. And it's a Ukrainian name. And that was American Eagle Flight 4075 coming in from Corpus Christi in South Texas. And hey, what do we got here? Hey, yeah. This I like. It's a tri-jet. It's UPS flight 2785 on its way to Louisville. Now backing out. This is an oldie but a goodie. It's 29 years old. An MD-11F. Well, I'm not particularly a fan of the design of the MD-11. I was never crazy about the engine kind of slapped into the tail there. You know, I always thought the other jumbo tri-jet, the L-1011, Lockheed L-1011, was a much nicer looking aircraft. Visually speaking, but this one has endured, and the L-1011 has gone by the wayside. Bill likes the looks of the MD-11. I mean, I like to see it, obviously, because it's different from all the twin jets that we see so often. And there goes an American Dreamliner pulling out of the American hangar. This plane gets very loud as well, this MD-11. MJ Scanlan Photography has some experience with the MD-11. You haven't lived until you've worked the number 2 engine in freezing cold with 20-knot winds. And yeah, that would seem to be a shortcoming of maintenance of that particular aircraft. Look at how high up off the ground that engine is. That would be no fun whatsoever, MJ Scanlan. Unfortunately, we're missing the arrival of Japan Airlines Flight 12 coming in from Tokyo Haneda. It normally comes in right over here, but today, here on the west side, but today it came in on the diagonal runway to the west of where we are, and we can't see it. We'll see it in a little bit taxiing over to the international terminal. And here's Alaska Airlines Flight 756 to Seattle. And it looks like it has returned to runway 18 left. So it looks like that runway is open again. And what you hear is the whine of the MD-11 engines. We'll see that in just a second after this one takes off. Okay. We'll see it very momentarily. We may not see the Alaska Airlines plane take off because there's the MD-11. We're getting a lot of good variety this morning, I would say. We saw a Queen. We are now seeing an MD-11. We've seen a couple of A300s. Here comes the A300 that arrived from Palm Beach. Another UPS flight. Terry Stone, top of the morning for you from Liverpool. I guess it's top of the late morning there, right? 6 hours, 8. I'm not doing my math very well. There's that tail that haunts MJ Scanlon photography. I mean, did the designers even consult with any maintenance people before they decided to put an engine in that position? And yet, we've still got a bunch of MD-11s and even DC-10s still flying around. FedEx operates, I don't know how many DC-10s, at least a handful. I've seen them come out of here every now and again, and it is my understanding that the primary way to determine the difference between the two visually is that the MD-11s have have the winglets right there, which the DC-10s do not. Unless there's been some DC-10s that are retrofitted, I don't know. Oh, thanks for the nice comment, Pro. My wife tells me that all the time. Coming in from Mexico City. There you have an American flight, and I didn't get the number of it, so sorry. Flight 1066. Back to our plane of interest right now. It is possible that they may direct this plane over to the east side. It's going to Louisville, which is where we saw the 747 take off from here earlier. But sometimes they send the MD-11s over to the east side of the airport for takeoff. But I'm going to say this particular aircraft is going to take its leave from right over there. And it looks like as it is taking off, we may get to see a flight going out from, or coming in from Guadalajara. Would it be? So if you see a 737-800, it'll be American Airlines flight 1034 coming in from Guadalajara in Mexico. And there it is. Well, we've got a bunch of people here today. I'm looking at our counter. We're up to about 352 concurrent users. That's great. Welcome to all of you. Flex, waking up, watching this from the from Dallas, Oregon, not Dallas, Texas. Brandon, meanwhile, is watching from the Hyatt Regency at the airport. Nice views. Well, why would you watch this from? I just look out the window, right? Do you have a window where you can see the runways? That sounds cool. But we're glad you're here watching this. This is called Runway DFW. It's a YouTube channel, which you probably know if you're watching on YouTube. I guess we've got may have somebody watching on Facebook and on Twitter as well. This is off to Louisville. Into the morning sky. Who knows how much longer we'll be able to watch these tri-jets taking off.
Yeah, early in the morning, right? 24, 29.
I believe the DC-10s had a cockpit, at least originally, that had required a three-person crew, a flight engineer along with the pilot and co-pilot. And I don't know if they've been modified by by FedEx, which operates DC-10s still. I guess somebody out there probably knows that. Meanwhile, we've got another MD-11 on the radar. And I'm guessing it's this one over here. It's still being loaded up, but it's lit up on the radar. I knew I'd get an answer from MJ Scanlon. Yes, a three-person crew on a DC-10. But FedEx MD. Did you mean MD-10 or MD-11? Now is a two-person crew. Keith Stone joining us from Ireland. Well, top of the morning to you, Keith, on St. Patrick's Day. Yeah, or you don't get to see MD-11s over there. So it's nice to be able to show those to you. That's, again, kind of a nice thing about YouTube and about being able to share this with you. You get to see things you can't see other places. I know I enjoy watching the streams from Sid Squad down in Sydney in Australia. We get to see some aircraft we don't normally see in this part of the world. This is a pretty popular plane, an A319. This is American Flight 2429 coming in from Monterrey in Mexico on Runway DFW. Well, I think we got some special livery here. I don't know how well you can see it in the backlit sun. And I can never tell from this angle if that's Piedmont or Allegheny. We have a question about the statue, so I'll explain that in a minute. That's Piedmont. Thank you, MJ Scanlon. I flew on both Piedmont and Allegheny back in the day. We'll get a little better look at the livery now here as it turns. This is one of the American Airlines heritage liveries, paying homage to the airlines that are part of its history. And it's always good to see those. It's that is nice. American has a bunch of them. They've got, I think, 2 liveries paying tribute to the previous looks of American Airlines. And they've got AirCal, they've got America West. Yeah, Piedmont does look like Allegheny. Roger Williams pointed out. Okay, now Glenn B42 is asking, what are those statues? They're not. It's statues of children frolicking here at Runway DFW, or at airport at DFW Founders Plaza, and it's just kind of meant to evoke the joy of flying. And later in the day, when there are parents bring their children here, the children like to frolic around those statues. Okay, some takeoff action here. Where to go? There it is. It's American Airlines, of course. And if you are among those who have not watched one of our broadcasts, you'll say, why is there so many American Airlines planes there? Well, American does kind of have a stranglehold on much of the traffic. They've got between 80 and 90% of the passenger traffic here at DFW. So you're going to see a lot of American Airlines planes, but we do get, this is an international airport, and we do get international flights. Oh, we've got another comment from MJ Scanlon. You're just full of interesting things today, MJ Scanlon Photography. FedEx has just 10 remaining DC-10s in its fleet. Had over 100 at one time. And there's 57 MD-11s in the fleet from 75. So, yeah, if we do get the occasional glimpse of a DC-10 here, I guess we can consider ourselves quite lucky. But I do see them on the radar. We don't get to see them very close up very much. In fact, I've never seen a DC-10 close up here, because when they do come through, they're at the FedEx facility on the east side of the airport. And so we don't get a very good look at them. This is American Eagle Flight 3978, and it's going out to Kansas City. An Embraer 175 type of aircraft here at Runway DFW. We'll give another thank you out to our inaugural Runway DFW contributors here. And on this St. Patrick's Day, if you feel like favoring us with a little green, well, we wouldn't mind that at all. There's a plane coming over the bridge from the east side as we look at the one that's about to take off. But anyway, if you feel the urge to send a little green our way on St. Patrick's Day. Did I use that phrase before? It's Runway DFW. It's paypal.me/runwaydfw is where you can make a deposit, and we thank you very much for doing that. And I'll take that out so you can actually see the plane taking off, because that's really what you're here for, right? You're not here to see self-promotion. As I was saying earlier, that the contributions we've received so far have helped us obtain a new tripod head, which gives a little smoother look. I'm still getting used to it. It's got its own quirks. But we're here to make this broadcast better for you. And I didn't see where that particular aircraft was coming from. So I apologize. And we never saw the Japan Airlines flight come in. Let's see if we can pick it out over there at the big international terminal. Terminal D. I don't see it on my little view screen. You may, of course, the Japan Airlines has a very distinctive white, very clean look, very white, painted all white. With the JAL logo on the tail. This is American Eagle Flight 3907 from Grand Island. As we battle a stiff breeze to bring you these shots. Now we have our pre-9 o'clock lineup going on here. We're going to have a bunch of flights that are taking off, which of course is part of what you came here to see. Unfortunately, the sun is not our friend at this hour of the day, of the morning anyway. Coming in from Abilene, Texas, another American Eagle flight. The radar's getting very crowded right now. Thanks for hanging out with us, MJ Scanlon Photography. We appreciate very much your participation in this morning's broadcast. Always helpful information. Just one of the great subscribers to Runway DFW. And again, if you haven't subscribed to our broadcast, it's free. No cost to you. Just hit the red subscribe button on YouTube. And that gets you into our chat room with all the wonderful commentary and friendship that goes on there. Here's American Flight 2540 coming in from Omaha. It's an A320 on Runway DFW. This is the part where it gets hard for me to figure out who's going where and when. As you can see, there's a couple of planes getting ready to take off. The one on the left, I believe, is American Flight 2720 on its way to Tucson. And the one to your right is American Flight 1550 to Las Vegas. Michelle Singleton, Michelle RS, happy St. Patrick's Day, Walt. Love these streams. She has given us a very generous donation. Thank you very much, Michelle. And again, I apologize for not being able to put those messages up on our screen. We don't have a connection to, a direct connection to PayPal, so that we can add those generous donations to our screen for you, but please know that they're very much appreciated. And you're looking at a plane going out to Tucson there, in the center of your screen. It's taking off. And what you see landing there is American Eagle Flight 3003 coming in from Santa Fe, New Mexico. But that's not all. We've got American Flight 1550 on its way to Las Vegas. There's an A321. On runway DFW, taking off on runway 18 left. Here at the big airport on this St. Patrick's Day 2022. We've got Lucas Calma on board, watching from QC, Philippines. Is that Quezon City, I think? I apologize if I've got that wrong. But welcome aboard. There is American Flight 520 on its way to Phoenix. It's an A321. You can see all the American tails in the background along with the East Tower here. Those tails are over at Terminal A on the east side of the airport. One of 3 terminals that are exclusively devoted to American Airlines planes here. Terminals A, B, and C are all American-only terminals. Terminal D is the international terminal where a variety of aircraft come and go, although they're mostly American Airlines. And then Terminal E is the kind of the everyone else terminal where you'll find JetBlue and United and Delta and what else?
American Flight 29,
There are more. Frontier, Alaska. So we've got much more activity here at 8:46 local time. And yes, it's pretty much American oriented, as you can see, or American Eagle. Mark T is watching from Tyler, Texas, saying there's not much to see at Pounds Field here. Well, that is a very nice thing about YouTube. You can kind of virtually go to many major airports around the world, including this one, DFW. In fact, the reason I started this channel was because I was so intrigued by the notion of watching airplanes from other airports, and I wanted to watch DFW Airport, and there was nobody doing it. So I thought I'd give it a go. And it's fun to be able to bring this live to you around the world from our perch at DFW Founders Plaza. We will be going off the air in about 10 minutes or so, regrettably, because I've got to go to work. Yeah, this is not work for me, this is fun. But I have the great opportunity to be able to work remotely. So that's what I'll do for the next couple of hours, then I'll come back. Hang out with you guys for another 90 minutes or so for lunchtime on this St. Patrick's Day. Mark T wants to know what time of day is the best to see heavies. And of course he means wide body jets. And they kind of come and go through the day here. I'd say the morning is best because we get to see a little more variety especially among the cargo flights. I can't even count how many UPS flights we've seen this morning. Here comes a comes a FedEx, not in the foreground there, but in the background. If I've ever seen a FedEx flight land on this side of the airport. The FedEx cargo facility is on the east side, so that's why it's way over there. And that one was coming in from Fort Lauderdale. 767. We have, let's see what we got here. Just got a couple more minutes with you. We'll watch American Flight 2197 coming in from Austin. It's an A321 on St. Patrick's Day on Runway DFW. That one is the Stand Up for Cancer livery. Again, it is a little hard to see it in the, because this is a backlit time of day here. See if we can give you a little better look at it here. If it's stand up for or stand up to cancer, but that's our second American Airlines special livery. That's coming in from Austin, flight 2197. This is just a really busy time of the morning. So many planes getting ready to go off. Just all lined up there at the north end. Again, that's the hazy skyline of, I can't tell if we can see Dallas anymore or not, or if that's just, oh, here's Dallas over here. Can you see? It's very hazy. It's back there. Thanks for hanging out with us, Glenn B42. And we hope to catch you later. Dora, we appreciate your kind comments. Love bringing this stuff to you. Starting to see some clouds here. Looked very clear when we got here, but there may be some weather brewing, as it does so often in the spring. Well, I guess it's not officially the spring yet here. I think they call it meteorological spring. At least that's what the meteorologists say. Well, there's just so many planes over there right now. I'm hesitant to even speculate as to which one is going where. They're all jumbled up on the radar. Bill Calden will be back at noon, as I hope all of you will be. If you can. That's noon Central Time, which I think, I can't tell what time that is in the UTC. I try to put the UTC in the description for our international viewers. There's another plane coming in on the east side. 8:57, I've only got a couple minutes left. I think this is American Flight 1820 off to Ontario, California. If you can hear me over the wind. Wayne Oates, hello from Australia. Home of Sid Squad, which is another great streaming channel, if you're an aviation enthusiast. I was watching the other night and they had a Qantas flight, a Qantas A380 Super Jumbo taking off on just a kind of a test flight for its return to service. I think it came back to the airport within 30 minutes. I don't know if you can see the clouds up there. And I'm looking for something super great to show you for our final, oh, sorry about that, for our final departure or arrival of the morning. Take a look at the long-range radar here to see what's coming in. I've just got a bunch of planes coming in. If only I could hang around here for a little while longer. But I don't think I'm going to be able to. So here's the deal. I have a job. I have another job. And, well, I have a job. And I got to be there in about a half hour to start work. So I'm going to pack all our stuff up, come back to you in, let's see, 3 hours from now. So 3 hours from now, we'll be back. We'll be bringing you more coverage from DFW Airport. So what am I going to do now? I'm going to put that up. I'm going to play this music. And that's it for part one of our St. Patrick's Day Spectacular at Runway DFW. It's been great being with you this morning. We will be back in 3 hours from now with our second broadcast of the day. if the wind doesn't blow everything away in the meantime. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you will consider subscribing to our channel, liking Runway DFW on YouTube, and we'll see you in a little bit. Thanks for staying around with us, and we'll see you later. Oh, and don't forget, as we say here in Texas, happy contrails to you until we meet again.